Hello, collective. I've been getting this download for a while now, and what I've been hearing is your ancestors did not stutter when they called these creatures demons. Let me say that again. Your ancestors did not stutter when they called these creatures demons, okay? Now, I've been hearing this message coming through for a while now, so I've been kind of paying attention to just the things going on in the world and things going on in my own life and things like that. And collective, one thing that is so important that has happened in this season is that you have understood that you are not dealing with human beings, okay? Throughout the time that we have lived in this reality, we have really been having to operate as if everybody that we deal with is a human being, like all the same kind of human being, right? But our ancestors specifically call these creatures blue-eyed demons, white demons, different words, but at the end of the day, the word demon was involved here. And there's a reason for this. I don't think I really need to give examples so much about slavery and racism and all the things that we experience here in this country and all throughout the world, but especially here in America. The lengths that these demons will go to in order to cause us harm, destruction, chaos, loss, the things that these people will do are literally insane, okay? And the reasons why they choose to do these things are even less sane. These people will get mad at you for no reason. These people will defend a Walmart before they defend a life, okay? These people will defend their way of doing things. They want you to follow their rules. They want you to do things how they do them. And this is true even today. These people expect for all of us to continue living amongst them and with them, having to follow their culture, their way of life, and doing things the way they do them. They do not want us to be separate beings. They do not want us to be having different kinds of cultures, different ways of self-expression, different ways of, experiencing life and reality. And so, throughout all the history that we have experienced colonization with these people, they have gone to extreme, savage, brutal lengths to keep us in a certain position. Lately, there's been a lot of news stories about young children having lost their lives while dealing with, various kinds of people. It hasn't actually all been white people. It's been all kinds of people, but in an assimilated society where all people are now basically assimilated into a white culture, all people might as well be the same. So it really doesn't matter if they have a different cultural background, different ethnicities and things like that at this point, because racism has infiltrated the minds and the spirits of all peoples in this reality to such a degree that people will turn against themselves. People will do destructive actions towards themselves and their own communities, okay? So this is not about just the one group of people. This is about all people who have now become just like those people. And in most cases, I would say even worse, okay? These people do things that are of no benefit to themselves or the people around them. Okay, you have jealousy, envy, hatred. You have people stealing from their friends and families in order to enrich themselves with basic things. Okay, they're not even getting themselves really far ahead in life most of the times. In a lot of the communities that we come from, you can get shot because you stepped on somebody's shoes. You understand what I'm saying? These people are not doing things even to get ahead in life. You can get hurt just for looking at somebody the wrong way. Okay? So in that sense, many of our own people are worse demons than the people who we were dealing with in the first place. Okay? The original demon, the first demon that we had to contend with. So, chosen. In this season, what I'm hearing is you have really started to understand that you are not dealing with human beings in your everyday, day-to-day experience, okay? And what you did was you decided you were going to pull the plug on participating in any more of this fake illusion reality, okay? You cut off friends, you cut off family, you cut off jobs, you cut off co-workers, you cut off toxic relationships of all kinds when you started to understand that everybody around you was coming up against you in some way, shape, or form. And it took you some time to realize, or maybe not realize, but to accept that there was nothing that you were going to be able to do about these people, okay? I want to also bring up the word zombie, because this is also important. This is also our ancestors' words. Not only did our ancestors call these people zombies, not only did our ancestors call these people demons, our ancestors called these people zombies, okay? Zombies is our ancestral word. Zombies, what it describes is not this flesh-eating, corpse-like individual or group that you may see on your news, or not news, your movies and media and things like that. Even though, there may be that style, but the real meaning of the word zombie is somebody who has had their mind taken over in such a way that they can be enslaved, okay? And so now they are mind controlled, or they are under possession of evil spirits, all right? So it's the same thing. It's a demon. In 2020, a lot of us understood that this reality was going to be very clearly visible, okay? The illusions were going to fall away. There were going to be many things that made it very obvious that there is something very, very wrong with this reality, okay? There's going to be no more walking around pretending as if everything is normal, right? And you may recall that during COVID, what was the major thing that everybody was saying? We want things to go back to normal. And the other side of that coin was other people saying things will never be normal ever again. Things will never be the same ever again, okay? I want to explain to you why that is. There's many layers and many levels to what happened during COVID, but one aspect of this thing is, the media talks about this thing called a zombie apocalypse, okay? We all know about the movies and all that, how popular it is. You have many people out here. I've heard people myself personally talk about how they would love to experience a zombie apocalypse, okay? So you have people out here manifesting actively. They want to experience a zombie apocalypse, okay? Now, when COVID came along, what many people have maybe not necessarily forgotten, but because it's not really held up in the media so much anymore as it was at the time of the lockdowns and things like that, is that if you pay attention to the zombie movies, what usually happens is that the virus or whatever illness will be spreading around for some years, okay? And then the governments of whatever countries will be developing vaccines. And then generally what happens is within about 5 years after the vaccines is when the actual zombie creatures begin appearing. Okay, so in 2020, you have COVID come down. About 2021 is when you have major vaccinations. There were vaccinations available in 2020, I do believe. However, most of the vaccinations, I would imagine, seems to me, were taken between 2021 and 2022 just because of the time, the gap necessary between developing and having them produced to the public, okay? And so, it's now 2026. The 5 years that has elapsed is finished now, really. And so, you may have noticed a really serious change in people's behaviors and personalities since COVID. You may notice that people have become extremely aggressive. People have become very emotional. People have become really unable to pay attention. They're not very attentive anymore, okay? And what I mean by that is maybe you may have discussions with people and you repeat yourself. You find yourself having to repeat things to people, or you find that they misunderstand you even when you are speaking clearly and articulately and explaining things step by step, and they still don't get it. These people are not understanding basic 1 + 1 = 2 type conversations out here, okay? You may notice that people have become far more selfish in the sense that it used to be that you could go out and ask for help, right? I remember when there were so much mutual aid groups available during COVID. If you've noticed, those things have largely disappeared, okay? So, people's personalities are no longer what they were before COVID, okay? And it is definitely a noticeable change. And so you have put yourself in a position to no longer have to deal with these people. That includes people who you considered friends and family, strangers, whoever it is. Everybody can get it. Everybody is equally I forgot the word. I lost my train of thought there for a minute, but the point is that everybody, no matter who they are, is on the no contact list, okay? They are no longer allowed to have contact with you. You have cut yourself off from society because these people have proven time and time again that there is something extremely wrong with them, okay? The unnecessary arguments, the causing issues in your life that are extreme, okay? Causing financial issues, causing issues that may affect women and children in the family, okay? Vulnerable people in the family. Affecting your housing, affecting your vehicle, okay, affecting your food security, people doing all kinds of crazy things that make absolutely no sense, that are causing real harm to your life, okay? You have people being disrespectful for no reason. You may be trying to help people, and here they coming towards you in a disrespectful and aggressive manner when all you're trying to do is reach out your hand to be helpful. So you said, you know what, no more, I'm done, I'm finished, because these people are not people, okay? We cannot even function in the same room with these people anymore. It's just not even worth the time and the effort to go in and say hello at this point. It's just really not, okay? These people are not human. There are multiple beings on this planet who are posing, okay, pretending to be something they are not. And at this point, the word human has lost all meaning, okay? We don't even want to be associated with the word human. That's how bad it's gotten in this situation. And for us, the collective, we've never really identified with that term human anyway, okay? We've never really considered ourselves to be human anyway. But in terms of, before we became awake, before the collective awakening happened, when it was assumed that everybody was a human being and we all deserve to have the same level of, treatment, respect, and so forth and so on, the idea was we're supposed to be sharing our humanity. We're supposed to be feeling a sense of relationship and brotherhood and sisterhood with one another. But you found out, and especially within these past few years, that is off the table. It cannot be done. People you trusted turned on you, okay? People that you loved betrayed you, okay? People that you gave access to your energy, to your spirit, to all your love, they threw that down on the floor in front of you and stomped right on it, okay? So at this point, you've determined whatever they are, human or not, is not worth your time, your energy to be around them anymore, okay? So you have put yourself in isolation, and you may have been or may still be in isolation for a very long time, probably since COVID started, okay? Ever since they said go inside and lock the doors and everybody stay 6 feet away, that's exactly what you did, and you've been doing it ever since. You have not stopped, okay? As a matter of fact, 6 feet is not enough. 20, 30, 40 yards, okay? Miles. Everybody needs to back it the hell up because they have no business being in your space, okay? These people are worse than the zombies in the movies, okay? Because at least the zombie in the movie is straightforward. It runs after you or walks after you, as it were, depending on the movie, and it eats you. That's it. It's straightforward. You know what it is, you know what you can do with it, and that's it. These people are on a whole different level, okay? Because you still have to put up with them as if they're a normal, regular person. You have to deal with their emotions. You have to deal with their whatever reactions they may have to things, okay? You have to put up with them as if they're really genuine and not like it's an NPC. And at this point, you're tired of that shit, because having discussions with an NPC gets us nowhere. It doesn't do anything for you, okay? All it does is really cause more problems. Whenever you try and have a discussion with these NPCs, you end up having to go back to square one and start all over with what you're trying to achieve, because these people have no clue what is going on, okay? These people are clueless, and then a lot of them, like I said before, have the audacity to be rude when all you're trying to do is get simple things done, okay? And then on top of that, we don't even need to go with all the horrible things that are going on. As I talked about, you have young children losing their lives at the hands of adults. Need I say more? What else do we really need to say? When you live in a reality where the grown adults are responsible for the abuse of the children, where are we at? What are we doing? What are we even talking about? What discussions do we need to be having? You live in a toxic environment, in an abusive, dangerous environment where the adults are responsible for abusing the children, okay? It's adults that are going out here hurting other children. It's the adults that are allowing other adults to do what it is that they're doing to children. What kind of reality are we in if the adults are the people responsible for doing what it is that they're doing to each other and to small children, okay? If we have no protection for infants and children, we might as well just all pack it up and walk off, okay? There's no point even being here. These people are disgusting. They're wicked. How can you possibly live in a world where you know that people are doing sexual abuse to infants, children, minors, and call yourself having a good life? Okay? Impossible. Insane. If you think that you can live in a reality, in the same reality as a pedophile and serial killers, you might as well become one, okay? You have no business pretending that you're anything less, or that you're anything better. You are not any better than the killers, the assaulters, the abusers, if you're willing to smile while you walk around in the same reality as these people, and then subject other children to the possibility of being endangered by these people, okay? If you have people who eat other people, because that's real, that really happens, okay? We don't have to pretend like that's not a real thing. They don't have to be called zombies, cannibals, whatever the case. You have this going on. What other concerns do I need to be thinking about? What is the point in a job, a car, a home, and all these other things if the actual reality consists of people who go out and do heinous things? Okay, these people are not human. And if they are human, whatever it is, whatever word you want to use for them, whatever the case may be, it doesn't belong around us, collective. And so you said, you know what? I'm finished. I'm wiping my hands clean. And I am going to go into isolation until such a time that it looks like it's a little bit safer and makes a little bit more sense to come back out here, okay, into the reality. You only come out here when it's absolutely necessary, collective. I see it. You do not step foot out that front door unless you absolutely have to, okay? Your home is your sanctuary now. There is no place like home. There is no place you'd rather be than home. Going out no longer sounds like a fun idea, okay? Going to the bar and going to the clubs and going out to hanging out with friends and doing house parties and all that has gone completely out the window. And it's not so much that you don't enjoy those things. The activities themselves are fine, but the people who you have to be around in order to engage in those activities are not fine. So you said, you know what, I'll sacrifice all that. I will sit at home and make myself happy at the house doing simple at-home activities, okay? I can do without all the other activities that are going on outdoors. There is nothing I'm missing out there. I don't have no fear of missing anything. Okay, the only thing I have fear of is going outside and ending up missing my life. That's it. That is the only fear that you have, is going outside and having to risk your life or risk causing somebody else to end up with their life missing because they tried you, okay? And that's the real danger. It's not even about your life anymore. It's about how you have chosen to control yourself by staying inside so you don't have to go outside and be responsible for doing anything to anybody, okay? You're not going to put yourself in a position to have to deal with people who cause you to have to get up out of your character, okay? All this having to cuss people out and get into arguments and all that is done, okay? It may be that every once in a while somebody may try your nerves when you do step out that front door. And you know what? You do your best to keep it cool, keep it dignified. You really don't give these NPCs the time of day anymore. You've learned how to shield your energy in such a way that they don't feel like they can just step up to you and start talking to you, having small talk, complimenting you, doing all those things that the NPCs used to do. You remember those days when it was just a free-for-all. Everybody could talk to each other and everybody could be all up in each other's space. They had no sense of boundaries. It didn't matter if you were having a good day, a bad day. People just come up to you and start trying to talk to you and all that. And you said, you know what, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I don't have to entertain strangers. I don't have to entertain random people who walk up to me. I don't care whether it's a compliment. I don't care whether they have something nice to say. I don't want them talking to me, period, okay? I don't want to deal with people who think they can just come up into my space on any given day at any given time. This is not a 24-hour gas station, okay? Your energy is not open for business anymore, okay? You've decided that these humans, or whatever the hell it is that they are, do not know how to behave themselves. They have no home training. They're disgusting, they're wicked, and it's not worth it, okay? And so, like I said in the beginning, your ancestors did not stutter when they called these creatures demons. That is exactly what they are. And it would behoove you to remember that every single day as you continue to go around and about your daily life and your daily activities. Continue staying away from these people. You made the right choice. Continue staying in the house and resting. That's exactly what it is you need to do. Have you noticed that since you've gone inside and stayed out of the fray out there, how much more peaceful and calm and relaxed your inner life has become. Your day-to-day existence, your nervous system is calm and relaxed, okay? Even if you've been dealing with some issues, we all may still have our issues going on. I know I do, but at the end of the day, I am 1,000 times more calm than I was this time last year, okay? And I'm going to continue moving in that same energy as we continue, okay? Because these people are out here losing their minds, and we're out here gathering our minds and keeping them together, all right? You're doing a wonderful job out here. When you made the choice to say, you know what, screw it, I'm going inside, and I will stay inside until it looks a little bit different out there, until things are looking a little better outside, okay? I'm not going out there. Good for you, Chosen, because those creatures are not, they're not like us, okay? We are not the same, and you understood that. So congratulations for understanding the assignment, Chosen, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.